Okay folks, I'm out and about again and I'm midway between Belfast and Bangor in the middle of woodland, and it's amazing what's on your doorstep, folks, that you wouldn't necessarily be aware of. And just under the undergrowth there you can just make out the concrete bases of prisoner of war camps. Now, this was a prisoner of war camp. It was set up in about 1944. I will explain the date and the reason for that in a minute, but you can see there's one base, second base, third base, fourth base, and then it goes on down in rows down there. Across here you can see another structure rising. You really wouldn't know that this was here at all. There's a few more that I'm going to come across in a farmer's field that are more evident, and we'll throw our leg over the fence to let you have a look at those. But you can see the bases going up the hillside, and this was a prisoner of war camp. There was a little bit of confusion. Some people says it was for Italians, but from what I can find out, it's probably German. So a prisoner of war camp housing German prisoners of war. It was called Camp 173, and there's also references to it being Camp 681 as well. You can see the bases a bit more clearly on this farmer's field. Fortunately I have long legs and I'll be able to throw my leg over this and we'll get a wee bit closer. So forgive me that camera angle for a second or two as I get over this fence. So if you're out and about, folks, don't be destroying anything. Do respect the farmer's property. Don't be digging or anything like that. So this is prisoner of war camp, set up in about 1944. That'll be just after the invasion of Normandy began, and Britain started to take more German prisoners. And actually in Northern Ireland itself there was as many as 13,000 held in Northern Ireland. This prisoner of war camp became occupied in about 1944 and was closed in 1948 when the last of the prisoners left. There's a few stories about some of the prisoners here. There was no real escapes from this prisoner of war camp, and there was very few escapes from German prisoners, to be honest with you, because there was absolutely no incentive for them to escape, even though they could have made their way into the Republic of Ireland at that time. Because if they had made their way back to Germany, they were only going to get reposted, possibly to places like the Eastern Front. So there's very, very few instances of Germans actually wanting to escape, let alone succeeding. Now, because of that, a lot of the prisoners here interacted with the locals and they were given trustee status. And there's a large farming estate called Clandyboy, and a lot of the German prisoners worked there, interacted quite freely with the locals, but obviously they would have to come back here at night time. There's also a lot of stories about them making prisoner of war art and selling it to locals to make a bit of money. So the last of the prisoners left here in 1948. I think one of the last tasks they had was to dismantle the anti-aircraft guns at Lough. That's an anti-aircraft site that was defending Belfast. We'll maybe take a wee walk up there. I think there is still a few remains, but it's like concrete bases. But we'll concentrate on this prisoner of war camp in the meantime. So they're all the concrete bases, and you can sort of see the size of them there. Concrete being, I don't think it was necessarily to keep them from tunnelling out, because as I say before, they really had no incentive to escape in the first place. But I think that was the main idea initially, was a concrete base to stop them tunnelling. There's no remains of any fences, but they were fenced in, and there is stories about children coming in. It's quite near a railway station, this, so there is stories about children from Belfast coming and not fraternising as such, but coming and seeing the German prisoners and talking to them through the fence and exchanging gifts. And I think that was the curiosity of children, and no doubt quite a few adults as well. So this is nice to see. The remnants of a prisoner of war camp in Northern Ireland. It's actually in very good condition, albeit just being the bases. And then it goes on into the forest here where it'll disappear. So a substantial camp. Wasn't aware of it until quite recently. So it just shows you what's on your doorstep. So get that internet going, folks. See what relics are about and start recording it and putting it onto the old YouTuber. Don't forget to subscribe, folks. See you again.